Part 67. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 661. If the reward for winning first place is 2 million, Senior Nagamo has already paid it in advance. As for the transfer papers, he is in Class A, so where should he go? Going to Class B? This is not a good thing and will cause Shuro fields. Therefore, Oreki-san's focus is not on the competition. Now at this point you can go and see Kosake and Agya. Oreki is aware of his girlfriend's unique possessiveness. From a certain angle, she was actually so green that she exploded. But she is greening herself again. But Oreki also knew that what she needed was attention to her possessiveness. So now I am skipping my project to find her, maybe this is a point that makes her feel important. Having too many girlfriends is trouble. So Oreki-san started walking in the direction of Sakayanagi. And the sixth group. The boys in the sixth group have arrived at the preparation area. The fifth group has begun, Kanzaki-san said. He is in the eighth group. Shibata is also in the eighth group. Generally speaking, it would be a disadvantage if strong-seated players were placed on the same field, but the students in Class B are very pragmatic. The energy of last year's sports festival is still fresh in my mind. So they've given up on getting ranked. But it's not completely ruined. After all, it is divided according to class. If you rank 4th, you will be deducted 150 points from the class evaluation score. Then a class is worth 600,000 private points a month. This is not a good thing for Class B who likes to accumulate points. So I still don't want to get the last place. Then, besides Kanzaki, the seeded players in Class B include Shibata. But Shibata-san still took care of me a little bit. That is, in last year's sports festival, Shibata-san had a deep shadow. Therefore, he must not be allowed to compete with Oreki again. As for Syodu, actually, I can compete with Syodu, Shibata-san said. His performance last year was terrible. There are still psychological shadows even now. And everyone took good care of him. But he also wanted to cheer up. So even if he faces Syodu, he is still capable of fighting. After all, Syodu is just gifted and not a monster. As a result, when Kanzaki-san arranged for him to apply for the project, he also avoided fighting Syodu, and then fought with Kanzaki instead. Are two people in the same class competing for first place in this group? A little wasteful. But the important thing now is to gain confidence, Kanzaki said. And what Syodu said? Although Syodu is not as good as Kojinji, but it's better to be on the safe side, Kanzaki said. And you just heard it? Oreki seems to be saying something to Ayanokaji that he can no longer hide, which makes people a little uneasy. Shibata was not familiar with Ayanokaji. But I'm just a little surprised that Oreki abstained, Shibata said. This is quite easy, Kanzaki said. Because the students in his program looked miserable. Everyone participated in the sports festival last year and saw the cheating scene, so it is normal to have psychological shadow. Hey, Shibata-san sighed softly. And thinking about it? Someone fell down. A voice came from the fifth group ahead. Kanzaki looked over and saw that Syodu-san, who had just been talking, fell to the ground. And a handsome boy with an expressionless and harmless face crossed him quickly, like the wind. Syodu looked at the opponent's retreating figure in shock. Because monster, monster. Day. Why are there monsters everywhere in this school? In fact, Kanzaki himself was also thinking about whether to put Shibata into Syodu's team. Maybe he wouldn't lose, but he felt that the strength of the two was evenly matched. Therefore, if it cannot have a positive effect, or even if Shibata loses, it will damage Shibata's self-confidence. That's how to avoid it. But now, there are monsters everywhere, so avoid them. Chapter 314. Your expression was terrifying just now. Highly cultivated high school, this school is full of monsters. This experience was experienced by Kazuomi Hoizumi, who just enrolled this semester, and now almost everyone has experienced it again. This school is a paradise for cheaters and is too hopeless for ordinary people. It wouldn't matter if it was the high-profile and unsociable Kojinji, or if he was originally Manabu Horikita from Class A and Houtarou Oreki from Class A. Barely understandable. But Pseudo pressed his hands on the track. He didn't understand. Really don't understand. Why is there no strong sense of presence around me? Ordinary classmates are monsters. It was in vain that he was usually complacent about his sports talent, but now, he was completely surpassed. Pseudo. On the other side of the court, Hirata Yasuke looked at Pseudo worriedly. Pseudo realized that now was not the time to be stunned, otherwise there would be no difference between him and Shibata from Class B. But this time the competition failed, and Pseudo heard the sound of his heart falling. I can't get first place, no, second place, or even third place. Although he was worried about Pseudo, Hirata-san immediately went to the finish line after the game. When Yamauchi-san dropped out of school, he was already broken. His inability to protect his classmates caused him to collapse immediately. However, Ayanokaji-san pulled him up from the abyss of self-blame, so he was a very important person to him. So it may not be polite to say this, but Hirata is now more worried about Ayanokaji's situation than Pseudo-san. He knew before that Ayanokaji was forced to drop out of school, and then he also wanted to protect him. And now? Why is Ayanokaji-san suddenly so high profile? Don't you want to keep a low profile? Ayanokaji-san. In this way, Hirata came to Ayanokaji's side. I want to get the transfer ticket, Ayanokaji said. Hirata. So is it? In the previous special examination that was unanimously unanimous, everyone agreed to sacrifice a classmate in exchange for a 500-point class evaluation score. And because of this, their Class D is now Class C. In fact, if it were in the past, Hirata would not agree to this method of sacrificing companions to gain points. But he has changed. And although he has obsessions in his heart, he also knows it. Perhaps what I want to maintain most is the peace of the class. So although it is painful, if sacrificing a classmate can maintain the stability of the class, he can make this decision now. After all, it's easy to have problems if everyone has no money, so if you have basic living expenses, everything can be stable. Poverty is the original sin. It seems that he himself also considered that the class might be missing grades, and then became a spy for Class A. Therefore, Class C is actually stable now. But after all, there was an act of sacrificing a classmate, so it is reasonable for Ayanokaji-san to feel uneasy. Only Hirata-san seemed a little reluctant to leave Class C temporarily. But he also knew that Class A was definitely the best. Then I will assist you. Hirata has a team project with Ayanokaji as his partner. So I can help. Thank you, Ayanokaji said. Now that he has reached the finish line, the students around him look over in surprise. Do you think he is running very fast, like a monster? Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 662. Actually no. He can also speed up. And the experience I just had was great. Because this is the first time he has unleashed his strength and run in the big world, and this feeling is what he wants to pursue. So he had decided that he wanted to be in that position, that he wanted to be free. Whoever does not allow him freedom will be deprived of his freedom. Ayanokaji-san, Hirata-san's voice came from beside him. How? Your expression just now was terrible, Hirata said. Ayanokaji. Is it scary? That is the pursuit of freedom, and of course it can also be called ambition. The scary part may be that he has figured out how to control his father, Mr. Ayanokaji. The other party allowed him to grow up from the White Room, which lasted 17 years. So, he just calmly let the other party be imprisoned in an area for 34 years. Probably thinking about the scary part, Ayanokaji-san became scary. But maybe that's what he is. Next is the 7th group. The competition on the boys' side is still going on. Kanzaki-san patted Shibata on the shoulder. It's actually not easy to say anything at this time. After all, a dark horse suddenly appeared. Well, it was a monster. Then the chances of them getting ranked are once again slim. But I didn't have high hopes in the first place, so now I just focus on participating. As long as the class doesn't fall to the bottom. I'm really convinced, Shibata-san said. The students in this school are so awesome. But I won't lose. After all, you all take good care of me. In this way, Shibata-san showed a determined expression. Even if I have to face a monster again. And the other side. Oreki-san came to the girls' camp. This is water. Oreki-san handed something to his girlfriend who had finished her girls' solo project. Thanks. Sakayanagi-san showed a cute smile. Then what's the score? Oreki looked at Maesumi Kamuro. First place in all the events I participated in, Kamuro replied. Oreki nodded. Really? Sakayanaga's health was in bad shape before, but with the treatment of the system's superpowers, not only his recovery but also improvement was improved. That's why I can cheat like I am now. It seems that the first place in the girls' group belongs to you, Oreki said. You can't say that. You seem to have given up on your project. Princess Sakayanagi also paid attention to her boyfriend. Actually, I wanted to go and cheer up, but then I received the news that Oreki-san had abstained. Yet Oreki nodded. Because 2 million or transfer papers are not his goal. I gave up first place to Ayanokaji, Oreki said. I met his father during the cultural festival. Yes, little Princess Sakayanagi nodded. As the daughter of Chairman Sakayanagi, she knew Ayanokaji Itsumai. At the same time, I also visited the White House when I was a kid. Then I went through various exams in Ueshin. I understand that Ayanokaji Atsushi is very paranoid and strong, and then ordered his son to drop out of school. He is not a good person. Then welcome him to Class A, Sakayanagi said. Class A is the area run by her and Oreki-san, and if Ayanokaji is allowed to come to Class A, it will be difficult for Ayanokaji Itsumai to interfere even if he wants to do something. It's indeed a good plan. So Sakayanagi was a little curious. So what do you want Ayanokaji to do? She didn't think that Oreki-san did things without asking for anything in return. Well, maybe it wasn't like that for girls, but it was definitely like that for boys. He has the resources, Oreki said. And also being trained, so I think he can eventually climb up to that position. Then once you're in that position you can make an offer. I want him to undergo civil law reform, Oreki said. Civil law amendment? The civil law reform probably means that outstanding people can be given the authority to marry multiple spouses. My suggestion is to marry 3 or more people. If he is an outstanding person, then it would be reasonable to keep more of his genes, Oreki said. Oh. Is it? Sakayanagi-san's smiling face stopped instantly. Because Oreki-kun, do you know what you are talking about? You are directly declaring cheating legal. And an excellent person has 3 or more opposite sexes. That is to say, apart from Horikita and her, you actually have someone else you want to marry. So who is this third object? Ichi knows. No. This Archangel's offensive seems to be not very good. So who? Kushida. In this way. Although she has been winning consecutive projects, Sakayanagi-senpai's mood has become subtle now. The Divine Room. Kamuro-san stayed aside, and she was used to the two of them ignoring her when they were talking. She was just listening anyway. But very exaggerated. Whether Ayanokaji-san might be able to become prime minister in the future, or Oreki had long wanted to step into the same boat. She couldn't catch any of these. Rather say, the relationship between Sakayanagi and Oreki was originally an interference, so Sakayanagi was the third party. It was strange that they were dating. But who does Oreki want to marry? Moreover, if you want to get married 3 times, you must spend a lot of money. In this way, the game is going on nervously. Girls' projects, boys' projects. 5 single-player must-have items are over. As long as you participate, you will get a reward of 1 point, and the rewards for the top 3 are 5 points for the first place, 3 points for the second place, and 1 point for the third place. There are no rewards for subsequent rankings. Although Oreki missed the 100-meter race, he participated in the subsequent hurdles, 1,000-meter long-distance run, long jump, and swimming. A total of 4 project wins were achieved. Received 5x4 and 1 point for participating in each game. But because I gave up the first 100 meters, I was deducted 2 points. Then stack the initial 5 points that everyone has. So his current score is 27 points. And open the tablet. You can see rankings and data. He's in 3rd place. The first place is Ayanokaji Kiyotaka. He did not miss or abstain. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 663. So his score is 35 points. The second place is Yuanjiro Kusuke. His score is 33 points. This score means that he lost 1 game. Then maybe it overlaps with Ayanokaji's project. In other words, Takahiraji lost to Ayanokaji, who was not pretending. I feel a little sympathy for Takahiraji-san, but now his self-esteem is probably damaged. Damaged indeed. Because I wanted to fight Oreki-san before, but was defeated. And in this project, because we were considering getting the maximum points, we didn't work with Oreki. But just now, in the 1000-meter event, Kojinji lost to Ayanokaji. You guy %. Gao Yuanji said. You can really hide it? Yes. If Ayanokaji had participated in last year's sports festival, the result might have been different. But he didn't. Only now does he show his strength. In other words, maybe it's the temptation of transferring class papers. Then come to Class A. Yuanji said. As long as you come to Class A again, you will still have a chance to compete. In other words, Takahiraji-san actually doesn't want to admit defeat. Oreki continued to look at the data on the tablet. Because it is real-time data, you can also see the results of other grades. Oreki opened the first-year students' data. Number 1 Amasawa Ika 35 points. Number 2 Tsubasa Nanase 31 points. They are all schoolgirls, I know. Among them, schoolgirl Tian's is really fierce. It should be said that he is worthy of being a student of Baifang. Oreki heard from Ichika Amasawa that although she was a White House student, she was not an ordinary White House student in the traditional sense, but existed as a control group. In other words, he has talent in himself. So is talent and bloodline more important, or is acquired learning more important? This is a difficult question to speculate on. But Oreki was very clear. Because cheating is the most important thing. Sophomore girls here. Number 1 Sakayanagi Arisu. Yes. Last year, I could only watch it from the auditorium, and I still regretted not being able to participate in the project. But now Sakayanagi-san seems to be cheating. It's not just Sakayanagi who is cheating. Sakura. How on earth did you train? In the individual events that Sakura participated in, she could get first place in any event that required physical fitness. But in the obstacle course just now, she failed to place. Because the draw was to bring 10 friends over. And this kind of thing is simply embarrassing. So it can only fail. By the way, the winner of this project is Kushida-san. His true identity has not been exposed. Kushida-san is still a little angel, and it is not easy to gather 10 friends. I don't know either. It's just, Oreki-san is just helping me, Sakura said. The person she is talking to now is Matsushita-san. Matsushita-san also considered not pretending this time. After all, it is a reward of 2 million private points or a class transfer pass. Although the class transfer pass is only valid for half a year, if you go to Class A, it is not only safe, but you can also get high living expenses corresponding to the class evaluation score of Class A. Therefore, there are many benefits to going to Class A. And as long as the rewards are given to men and women in the same grade, she thinks she can make a dash for it. She felt that her physical abilities were superior to those of Horikita and Kushida, and she was considered a person with talent in this area. But the event he participated in was actually defeated by Sakura in an instant. All I got was second place. This is really disappointing. I finally tried hard, but ended up losing miserably. Then it's really. Panasonic actually wanted to continue this topic, but found Sato and Kuruzawa coming here. Since I am playing with Kuruzawa and the others, it's better not to make them jealous. It would be bad if they were misunderstood as the boy who robbed them. Panasonic-san is quite transparent. P.S. I'm so desperate, I have to become a coder at the end of the month again. I have to write 12,000 today, 15,000 tomorrow, and 32,000 the day after tomorrow. Sure enough, people don't learn from the past. Chapter 315 Senior Nanyun, please start blasting gold coins. The individual projects end and the group projects follow. Oreki also continued to check the data of other grades displayed on the tablet. Except for the first grade schoolgirl Amasawa, who is very cool. He checked the information of the senior classmate. There's nothing to look up on the boys' side. No. 1 Nanyunya. Number 2 Kiriyama. Both of them are among the best. Moreover, Nagamo is a student in Class A, and now he wants to get first place. Is it because he wants to transfer to another class? In order to prevent the transfer papers from falling into the hands of others? But no. Otherwise the second place would not be Kiriyama. Naun's operation has always been to take advantage of himself and then defeat everyone else. So Kiriyama is second here. In other words, Nagamo actually wanted Kiriyama to win first place. Although Naun is now in first place, he can abstain from participating in subsequent projects appropriately. And Oreki also knew that Nagamo-senpai controlled Kiriyama, and he might have spent a lot of money to buy it. But the current reward for transfer papers may be useless for other grades, but for third graders. That's the goal. Because as long as they get the transfer papers, although the deadline is only half a year, they are already in the third grade. So if you use the transfer paper, you will become a student of that class, and then graduate with the rank of that class. In other words, students are very motivated. And the results are also very exciting. Because second place Kiriyama received 28 points. But the third place was an unknown senior who also had 26 points. Then, the scores of the top 10 ranked in a row are not very different. In other words, everyone is sharpening their heads in their own projects and rushing in. The goal is to change classes, the goal is, to move up. Graduated as Class A. Because he was in the grade controlled by Nanyun, he made the scores of his class very high. Even if there were a few more special exams with very bad scores, the possibility of Nanyun's class of falling would be very small. So, everyone wants to rush to Nagamo's class. And this is how the boys behave. What about girls? Found it? Oreki-san found Asahina-senpai's ranking. No one. Indeed. She is Nagamo's childhood sweetheart, and she is also the one she covets. Otherwise, I wouldn't have called her privately to invite her to the student union. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 664. Although Nagamo was later expelled as a member of the student union, so he sent all these. But to be coveted by Nanyun, this senior also has talent and capital. But Oreki doesn't think Asahina-senpai can take first place. After all, there is someone stronger than her. Then Oreki continued to slide down the girls' rankings and confirmed. It seems that is indeed the case. Nagamo has someone he needs to guard against. Honoriyuan Maple Flowers. Kiriyuan Fenghua is in the same class as Tongshin Senpai. They were all students in class A when they entered school. But he was defeated by Naun later. Oni Ryuan was called a person with abilities by Kiriyama, but this person with abilities did not work hard for the class, so he was very angry. Senior sister Fenghua said that she appreciates individual combat power more, and she finds it incomprehensible to fight for the sake of the team. So, now this kind of single person can be assessed for himself. Wouldn't Ghost Dragon Academy Senpai be a show-off? And it's more than just not showing off. Oreki looked at the data on the third-year list. Number 46 Honoriyuan Maple Blossom is worth 10 points. Honoriyuan Senpai received 10 points. Well, the score of 10 points is quite interesting. Each student has a basic score of 5 points, and after participating in the required 5 individual events, and then failing to get a ranking in any of them, it will be 10 points. It is also possible that after participating in the event, you got a ranking, and then had to give up, and then your points were deducted. Then got the final score of 10 points. No matter which point it is. Oreki took out his phone and checked it. He didn't have the skills of Kiriyuan Senpai, so he couldn't check the other party's location. But hey, you have to ask me for help at this time. Ghost Dragon Academy. I have her best friend. Kushida-san quickly sent a message. Then he gave the GPS location to Oreki-san. Nagamo-senpai is an unscrupulous person. At the same time, he is also a person who is persistent in his goals, a bit like Ryuan to a certain extent. And Nagamo's method is also very direct. Because Oreki went to Kushida's side and borrowed Kushida's mobile phone, he found that Maple-senpai went to the toilet 3 times in a row in 10 minutes. This is not a good thing. It seems like you're not in good health, Oreki said. Junior Oreki. Oni Ryuan, who was feeling a little depressed and even dissatisfied, noticed a junior student with green pupils. I was plotted against, but this senior student Akira didn't tell secrets. I want to show off at this sports festival. But she said. That bastard Nagamo dropped something in my sports bottle. So now it's difficult for me to even participate in projects. In this way. Sure enough, it was because I found myself feeling unwell after participating in the project, and I forced myself to hold on. But it also failed to get a ranking. And this kind of behavior is what is done off the court. And what's even more egregious is that when I wanted to pursue it, the kettle had already been disposed of by them. So, Ghost Dragon Academy said. Actually, I'm quite sorry now. Not only was it as simple as being drugged, but there was also the fact that in the class, there was no one to even maintain or even help. If someone had been watching for help, her water bottle wouldn't have been so easy to catch. It was time to graduate, but today, Honoriyuan found that he had been taught a lesson. But I was really dissatisfied, But my health was not good. Can't continue the game. If the girl in Nagamo's class wins first place, she can get 2 million private points, Oreki said. 2 million is not a small amount for ordinary people. In other words, was the 2 million the main reason why she was attacked? This made the Oniryu senpai silent. Damn Nagamo. There is really no bottom line, then the senior sister yelled angrily. Just for 2 million, you framed me like this. It looks like this. But I think maybe it's more than that, Oreki-san said. He showed the transfer that Nagamo gave him before the sports festival started. What Nanyun transferred was 2 million. It shows that Nanyun is still rich. Oreki wrote. 2 million is not something that Naeun needs to be very concerned about. The individual scores for this sports festival are divided into men and women. Then, Kiryuin senpai, your physical ability and quality are the best among third-year girls, right? Oreki-san said. Ghost Dragon Courtyard. Indeed so. Then this is it, Oreki said. Senior Nagamo actually doesn't want you to be promoted. If you choose 2 million points he may not have any objection, but if you get promoted, he will definitely not want it. Why? Gilongai Yuan felt speechless. Why? Oreki. Kiryuin senpai is like the female version of Kojinji. But in the past, Gao Yuanji had cooperated brilliantly in order to get promoted, but after arriving in Class A, he didn't directly hold him back. But Oniryu senpai, Kiriyama, your companion, made a complaint against you during the exam on the uninhabited island. It means that you have not contributed to the class at all. People who have power don't have to be in the right class at all. And don't you understand this at all? Speaking of it, Oreki said. Why does senior hate boycotting class actions? Is the class taking action? Although he didn't realize why Oreki-senpai suddenly changed the topic. But Kiryuin said, I think there is no point in cooperating with each other and moving forward together. There will be no growth. Is it? Can't grow. Then you are aloof. Oreki once said this when he encountered Horikita Sr. beating his sister. Lingian, please don't misunderstand the difference between being aloof and aloof. Among them, Gojeo is a name for the strong. But Horikita's sister cannot reach the height of aloofness. However, the Ghost Dragon Academy in front of them reached an awe-inspiring height. What she means by not wanting to unite and move forward is that everyone is from Class A, and then the configuration is better than other classes, and then they have to unite and unite, isn't it just crushing other classes? She felt it was unfair, like a game that had been cheated for a long time, and it was probably boring. So she didn't respond to the class's expectations. However, for most students, it is the instinctive behavior of the weak to approach the strong and then let the strong show their strength. And Kiryuin did not respond to their expectations, so Kiriyama was so angry. It would be foolish to feel that you have abilities that you don't use. Then he turned around and turned to Nanyun. This is a personal choice, and Oreki has no intention of interfering. But Nagamo deliberately intervened and drugged Kiryuin. In other words, there was a reason why Kiryuin could not be promoted. Want to know? If Takahiraji came to the class and was completely uncooperative. So as the representative of Class A, he probably can only, let out a prairie dog scream. And Nagaun is the kind of person who doesn't like mistakes. From this point of view, Oreki thought it could be used. After all, there are 2 reasons why he is fishing now. One of them is that Ayanokaji needs the transfer papers for the 2nd grade this time more than he does, and the second reason is that Kosake Anagia still wants money. Therefore, as a boyfriend who has long been disqualified, Oreki-san also feels a little guilty. Then I want to cooperate. Take the points from Nagamo-senpai. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 665. So, Oniryu-senpai can use it here. Oreki then stretched out his hand towards Kiryu-senpai. As a student of Class A, I can't understand my senior's thoughts, Oreki said. But I don't think it's the right thing for you to collapse here. So, I want you to stay in the game. The more Nagamo-senpai stops you from moving forward, the more you move forward. Wouldn't it be a good thing to create obstacles for him, Junior Oreki said. Ghost Dragon Courtyard. You're right, Oreki-senpai. The more he's stumbling upon me like this, the more I want to ruin his plan. But even the aloof senior sister shook her head at this time. My body now can't hold it anymore. After all, he was drugged. But drugged. Poor health. So that's about today. That's a pity indeed. Oreki held out his hand to her. As for senior's regret, we sophomores can try and work hard. This can be regarded as repaying the favor of the uninhabited island exam. A favor from an uninhabited island? At that time, Senior Fenghua wanted to play solo. Then he was tricked into working by Oreki-senpai. Then he even took Ayanokaji's bracelet and acted as a target, running around to attract Samakari's attention. It's like protecting the younger generation. And this kind of thing is challenging. So Fenghua-senpai also finds it quite interesting. So she didn't take it as a favor. Just what Oreki-senpai said. She also reached out her hand. Their hands were clasped together. But this moment, like a miracle, Kiryu Fenghua felt that her body became warm, and then was injected with strong fresh vitality. This feeling is not in a dream, but I have really experienced it. Van, Ghost Dragon Academy. No, it's nothing, senior sister Fenghua said. As a strong man, he felt the changes in his body almost instantly. A change for the better. Speaking of which, your girlfriend, who is the current student council president, is she okay? Senior sister Fenghua said. Absolutely, Oreki said. Her body was already very weak and her heart was not good. But that has changed recently. It seems to be because of love. Isn't it said that love can make people feel incredible? It may even have the power to cause miracles, Oreki said. Although this statement is not reliable, the facts are already in front of us. Arisu's body has recovered. Oh. This is an exaggeration. What does it mean that falling in love can cause miracles? How can there be so much true love in the world? But Gilongayu Fenghua. What happened to her here just now? Because she also felt just now that her body, which had been completely overstretched by the drug, seemed to have returned directly to her usual peak period. That is to say, she had just experienced a miraculous power. But does this mean that she is also in love? Senior sister Fenghua felt outrageous. Because she was not prepared to fall in love. And the target is a married man who already has a girlfriend. She is so strange. Always confident and proud. But at this moment, Kiryu Fenghua suspected that something was wrong with her. Senior, Oreki looked over after using recovery. %. Senior sister. No, it's nothing. But, she said. I feel like I have the strength to fight again. Her current score is at the end of 5 personal events, and she got 10 points. And the score of 10 is not high. However, that doesn't mean there's no hope at all. Because you can also engage in group battles. One person can participate in up to 10 projects. Therefore, you can still participate in 5 events in team battles. The team battle is where team members share the points gained at the same time. The points in team battles are also higher than those in individual battles. In individual battles, everyone who participates can get 1 point. Then only the top 3 get extra bonus points. 5 points for first place, 3 points for second place, and 1 point for third place. In the team battle, first place gets 10 points, second place gets 5 points, and third place gets 3 points. Score is higher. And even the third graders who are now at the top will encounter junior students in the lower grades in team battles. So, even if the senior sisters' score cannot be completely improved, then, it can be done by pulling down these top third graders. In this way, Oreki chose to contact his dog. No, it was Hiyori's subordinate, Ryuan-san. P.S. Japan. I had a headache all day yesterday, and now I got up at 4 o'clock to write. I can't finish writing. My half-year bonus is about to fly away. Will the code writers wither away like this at the end of the month? Recommend a friend's new book. The following is an introduction. This book is also called, The Creation of the Pokemon Cult in Terra. Must have been a mistake somewhere, right? About the fire-breathing dragon I saved because I wanted to repay my kindness, so I rescued Miss Xuanxing and said that she would give it to me as my wife. Yeah, you traveled through the world of our knights, but accidentally activated a portal connected to the Pokemon world. And the system promised him that he could bring Pokemon to this world and transform everything in this world. Since then, the fire-breathing dragon that can release the wings of destruction skill has appeared on the land of Terra, the legendary Banjire who dares to challenge natural disasters, and Pikachu who crushes the darkness with thunder. This is the establishment of Elf House from long men. And in Terra, he became the father of Pokemon and the story of the strongest Pokemon master in history. Chapter 316. Isn't this completely impossible to fight? The sports festival lasted only one day, and after the short individual competition ended, the team competition began soon. There are many items in team battles. And it was also a grade-level melee, so everyone seemed very busy. And here in third grade, I have a little free time, Neunya said. He came down from the team sport of basketball. He was an athlete on the soccer club, and now he's in the team sport of basketball. Logically speaking, although they are both balls, there is still a big difference between football and basketball. But Nagamo is an elite athlete, and basketball cannot stop him. So just got the win. In fact, this is also because members of the school's sports clubs are restricted by rules from participating in the events of their own clubs. So he was actually competing against laymen. But winning is the most important thing. And Kiriyama was in a group with him and was directly taken away by 10 points. Scores are divided equally among team members. Nagamo. In Class A, Nagayun also has his own supporters. Seeing Nagayun say this, the other party immediately recognized the situation and handed over the tablet he just checked to Nanyun to confirm everyone's scores. This time's sports festival is generally the same as the usual exams. Their grade has been ignoring the school's assessment since Nanyun took over. Instead, the class representatives of the 4 classes sat down and discussed how to conduct assessments, how to avoid more dropouts, and how to obtain points from the school. And standing on top of this is Nagayunya. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 666. He acts as a decision maker and allocator. Then everyone passed the exam like this. The same goes for the sports festival that was supposed to happen this time. But because of the reward of the transfer paper, some students wanted to give it a try at the end. You can see the crazy actions of the students from the 3 classes of BCD who are good at sports. After all, Nagamo controlled the grade, and not long after it ended, he violently attacked Class B, which might have had a glimmer of hope, and now Class A's position is extremely secure. It is almost certain that graduation will be in this order of classes. The other 3 BCD classes have no hope. As students in Class A, they don't need to think about this. They only need to think about not going against Nanyun, and not being kicked out by Nanyun in the final time of graduation. So Nanyun also felt that the closer graduation was, the more loyal the students in his class were to him. Nagamo and Kiriyama also came over. He is a student in Class B, but he is holding a tablet and frowning. He also just finished the basketball team event, and maybe he put in too much effort, so he was sweating profusely. There seems to be something wrong with the girls, Kiriyama said. Tongshan, water. The student in front of him handed Nanyun a tablet and said. This student is from Class A, but Kiriyama is not only the vice president of the student union, but also seems to have been recruited by Nagamo, so he is likely to win first place among boys in this sports festival and then come to Class A. Then we will be classmates from now on. So he showed his courtesy. Tongshan. But Kiriyama, who was dripping with sweat, just took it without drinking. What? Nanyun looked at him. Are you worried that there is something wrong with the water? Yes, Tongshan nodded. The attentive student who just said this was a bit at a loss. I didn't do anything in the water, and this was unopened mineral water. Nanyun. But Nagamo understood Kiriyama's concerns. This time Nagamo wanted to save money and pull Kiriyama up. Kiriyama's goal is to graduate as Class A, and in terms of points, he has already collected about 15 million. Still 5 million short. However, the condition Nanyun gave him was to pull him up this time, and then he would give him 15 million. Kiriyama's goal is to become a student of Class A, whether he gathers points or is directly pulled up, it is the same. So Kiriyama has no problem with it. And Naun wants to buy 15 million. Not only did he get back the 10 million he had given to Tongshan, but he also got 5 million in vain. Good mood. But there are some arrangements. Although the final selection of male and female top candidates is based on grade. But the team battle is for the whole grade. And judging from last year's sports events, damn, the second graders have cheats. What about Syudu? Kojinji also has Oreki Houtarou who can fight Horikita Senpai equally. So after Nagamo confirmed that the cheater, Takahiraji, was participating in the project, he and Kiriyama applied for a project that was different from Takahiraji. Averted. But there are two projects that overlap with Oreki Houtarou's. So Nagamo decided to ask Oreki, a sports cheat guy, not to participate in group projects related to them. In order to get points. The current sports festival is the last chance for the lower class in the third grade. Class competition is gone, but there is still a glimmer of hope for personal development. So in fact, from the beginning of registration, Nanyun discovered that some students had deviated from his control. They do not participate in the programs that are arranged for them to participate. Don't listen to orders. This is for your own future. Nothing much to say. So Nagamo's binding force decreases. Then naturally we can only work hard in other aspects. Moreover, he had thought about giving Oreki the money. It was regarded as a favor payment. After all, got it wrong before. He always thought that Oreki was paid and did nothing. But it turned out that he was stupid for overthinking it. For example, in the contest for the first place in the uninhabited island using props, Oreki directly said that he could bet on Kojinji. As a result, Nagamo felt untrustworthy at that time and had to guess Oreki. Then we almost capsized, but actually lost money, losing a milk tea shop in vain. So this time he took the initiative and paid the other party a favor first. In this way. This is the solution for the boys, but for the girls, the one who needs to be vigilant most is Kiryu Maple. And Kiriyama has already taken care of it. Drug the water in Ghost Dragon Academy to pull the opponent down. So this is what Kiriyama, a student in the same class as Kiryuin, can do. And because he drugged the water of Oniriyuin, Kiriyama became wary and did not dare to drink other people's water. I'm afraid I don't even dare to drink my own water. Nagamo felt Kiriyama's firm determination to become a student of Class A. As for the girls, except for Oniryu who has talents and cheats, no one performed outstandingly. So Nagamo is preparing to let his childhood sweetheart Asahina win first place. Then you don't have to choose a transfer ticket, but get 2,000,000 private points. Certainly. This was not because Naeun wanted to gain points through her hand, but, to show goodwill to the other party. Because I am about to graduate. But he didn't consider the major events in his own life. Asahina is his childhood sweetheart, and their homes are very close to each other. It's just that they never developed into a couple. Although it is a bit regretful, Naeun has not made excessive demands before. After all, there are so many cute girls in this school, why are they hanging from a tree? But the hope of finding a cute schoolgirl was dashed. Ichino-senpai ran away, and cute Sakayanagi is a devil. Kushida-senpai and Suzun are also Orekis. So, after looking back, Nagamo decided to put his hope in his childhood sweetheart. Then, now that you are about to graduate, wouldn't it be a good thing to give the other person some money as a sign of goodwill? Naeun has his own ideas. Kiriyama showed the data on the tablet to Nagaun. 2 group projects have passed. Each student can participate in 5 individual events and 5 group events. Among them, participating in individual events will earn you 1 point for free regardless of your performance, while participating in group events will deduct 1 point regardless of your performance. And students' scores have begun to change. The first place is still Asahina. Asahina's score is 37 points. But at the end of the individual event, her score was 31 points. This is 2 team battles in a row and I did not win first place. This is strange, because in the 2 girls' team events that just ended, he also looked at the list and found that there were no strong opponents, and there were no strong opponents in the lower grades. At most, they would encounter Ghost Dragon Academy. There are 3 overlapping group events between Kiriyuin and Asahina. But Kiriyama has already dealt with Kiriyuin, so that's why. Naeun looked at the third-year girls who were ranked 6th. Number 6 Gilongai Yuan Fenghua, 28 points. Is it the Ghost Dragon Academy? She actually caught up. Nanyun's expression also became serious. It can be said that what Naeun is most opposed to is the climb of Kiriyuin, because this guy is not only a plug-in, but also has a completely incomprehensible way of thinking. It's also a drag on the class. Nanyun doesn't want the other person. That's why Kiriyama was allowed to operate. Only. Now Ghost Dragon Academy can climb up. And the score is very subtle. Her previous individual event score was 10 points. So now 28 points means that you have paid 2 consecutive participation points and then won the first place and received the maximum reward of 10 points. Does that mean there is nothing wrong with her body? Are you sure you've been drugged? Nanyun looked over immediately. Down Tongshan nodded. I saw her drink it with my own eyes. Nanyun. But Kiriyuin can still participate in the project and win first place. This unscientific. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 667. Is it possible that Kiriyuin was cheating before, pretending to drink, and then the personal project was just a deliberate attempt to look like a drugged weakling? Nagamo asked. If you say that, she will take revenge. Tongshan was a little nervous. It's possible, Nanyun said. But don't worry too much. Asahina will only have another team battle with her. They won't meet in the next 2 projects. And thinking about it, he noticed that he had received a text message on his phone. First grade class C Tsubaki Sakurako. Hiroshita Harano, class D, first grade. Manabe Shiho, Rika, second grade class C. Yamabuki Otome, second grade class A. This is a list of some junior students, and they are all girls. This text message seems strange. The person to whom the letter was sent, Nagaun, had left a note for the other party. Sakayanagi Arisu. And the other party's second text message was sent. If I let these students abstain, then the third-year Class B Kiryuin Senpai will be able to get the remaining points and my demands are not too much. Nagamo Senpai, if you don't want Kiryuin Senpai to come to your class, 15 million is fine. Oh. Nagamo quickly realized that the list of these students was the contestants of projects that did not overlap with Asahina and Kiryuin. And if a forfeit occurs, the opponent wins outright. Therefore, even if Kiryuin's body is recovered or not, he will still receive the highest reward. And Sakayanaga's notification means that she will do this. Nanyun. Nanyun knew that the 15 million he got from Tongshan this time was going to be lost. Sakayanagi Yuzu didn't even hint at it and directly asked for money. Oreki Houtarou, can't you just control your girlfriend? Only. This time the sports festival only gave 2 million to Oreki Senpai, and Nagamo was a little worried that this guy would join forces with Sakayanagi Arisu and blackmail him for more. It's time to graduate, and Naun doesn't want to capsize in the gutter. He now has more than 10 million left over from the previous uninhabited island exam. Then there are 2 stores. The assets have shrunk greatly, and I don't want to lose everything completely. So. The 15 million people in Tongshan haven't even warmed up yet, so they are about to fly away. Nanyun. I want Asahina to win first place on the girls' side. After thinking about it, Naun quickly made a decision. Now it was Sakayanagi who took the initiative to speak. If he refused, the other party would probably increase the price. And if he agrees, it means that this sports festival has been in vain. But if Ghost Dragon Academy really comes up, it's hard to imagine the destructive power of the opponent. Moreover, Kiriyama drugged her, and then Kiriyama also came to Class A. Oniriyuin will definitely not let Kiriyama go. So, thinking about this is a headache. And the second grade camp is here. Drop. Sakayanagi Yuzu is operating a mobile phone. The screen of the mobile phone she clicked on showed that she had received a deposit of 5 million yuan. Then there are notes. When Asahina wins first place, and then Kiriyama also wins first place in the third grade, I will make up the remaining 10 million for you. Nagamo Senpai is such a good person, President Sakayanagi commented. It seems that Nagamo's demands have increased. Originally, Sakayanagi only talked about the girls' side of things and didn't care about the boys' points. But Nagamo asked Kiriyama to also win first place. And this kind of thing, it seems that the requirements have increased. But it's a pity because Sakayanagi didn't intervene on the boys' side. So what Nagamo Senpai said has nothing to do with her, so the probability of Kiriyama getting first place among the boys without manipulation is very high. As someone close to Sakayanagi, Kamuro knew that what Sakayanagi said about being a good person was not a compliment, but that Nagamo was really happy to pay. Treat each other like a sheep. Sakayanagi really knows how to make money. But this is the best, isn't it? Only in this way will there be money to pay her wages in the future. In this way. There is basically nothing mysterious about the sports festival in the second grade. Arisu at this time, a handsome boy with dark green pupils, came to the camp. He stood at the door and spoke to the silver-haired man who was operating his mobile phone. After the 2 group battles, it's intermission time, so you can go have a meal. Oreki-san came to pick up his girlfriend. Chapter 317. Everyone knows that Houtarou Oreki has grown up. 10K. Oreki-san came over to pick up his girlfriend for dinner. Although he knew from the precognitive dream that Sakayanagi-san would break up with him at the end of the semester. But it is undeniable that the two are in a relationship now and will have children together in the future. It's obviously not a breakup. Then there is no reason to ignore the other party. Rather say, Sakae Nagi-san is actually quite clingy. I just got some points from Nagamo-senpai. Seeing Oreki-san coming over, Sakayanagi said. Oh. As expected, he obtained a list of students from Ryuan and sent it to Sakayanagi. If students from Class C of the second grade are to be used, then just say hello to Longyuan directly. And if it is a first-year student, it will be a bit more troublesome. Ryuan needs to be used as an evil force to oppress the first-year students and make them obedient. And judging from the results, Nagamo-senpai was very happy. Speaking of it, Oreki-san said. Are you still so short of money now? He knew that Sakayanagi had been saving money. Sakayanagi has probably gathered close to 100 million personal points and converted them into cash for 80 million. 80 million, if you live alone you can have a good quality of life. At the same time, Oreki thought that once Sakayanagi-san announced that she was pregnant, she wouldn't even need to look for an apartment, as Chairman Sakayanagi would handle it. But if this is the case, he will also be under pressure. Because Chairman Sakayanagi will definitely force him to marry Sakayanagi-san right after graduation. But in fact, he chose to marry Horikita. I have some plans, Sakayanagi said. And the current points are obviously not enough. And she seemed to want to say something, but hesitated. Oreki looked at her, and the two of them went to the cafeteria together. As for Kamuro-san, she kept a straight face and went to get food by herself. Oreki and Sakayanagi sat down and held hands. Then, considering that she still had other projects to participate in next, little Princess Sakayanagi left quickly after eating. Oreki-san continued to stay in the cafeteria. But two girls who had just arrived in the cafeteria were walking towards him. They are not strangers, one has orange-red slightly curly hair, and the other has a beautiful golden single ponytail. They are Sato Maya and Kuruzawa from Class C of the second year. Although both of them were dressed as hot girls and looked uneasy to mess with, they came over immediately after seeing Oreki-san. Generally speaking, the relationship between the two is actually that of love rivals. However, probably after confessing to each other after the exam on the uninhabited island, their relationship became better, and Oreki could often see them acting together. And now, he didn't even bother to come to him directly. Oreki moved a little further in, so that one of them could sit opposite him and the other could sit next to him. But, probably noticing his move, Sato-san and Kuruzawa were stunned for a moment, then raised their white little hands. Then hammer paper scissors. There seemed to be a fight over who could sit next to him. In fact, this is not needed. Then, Oreki-san said as he watched the hammer paper scissors victory over Sato-san sitting next to him. Why are you suddenly walking towards me? Although when he was on the uninhabited island, Oreki-san slept in his room because he had completed his mission, and the girls he had a relationship with often came to visit him, even holding him secretly. Then these two people came too. It was even recorded by Sakayanagi-san, who deliberately dropped the recorder, which was a type of self-destruction. However, the two of them still have some sense of shame. They know that Oreki is also the boyfriend of the student council president Sakayanagi Arisu, so they have to be careful about the impact. It would be bad if Sakayanagi-san wears his shoes. So there is something wrong with being above board now. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 668. After we compare our personal projects, we will go see your project. But why are you abstaining? Sato-san said. The physical fitness of these two people is average, so they have finished participating in their individual events, which is to supplement the number of people for the team competition that Horikita and Kushida participated in, so there is only one team competition for the volleyball match. Then naturally I have time to watch Oreki-san's game. It's just Oreki-san, he abstained. Did not participate. I see. I wanted to crouch down but couldn't defend him. This time I took money from Nagamo-senpai, Oreki said. So there's no need for serious competition. This is not interesting, Kurosawa-san, who was sitting opposite, said. Because we originally wanted to see Houtarou kill a lot of people. Is it? It turned out that they had such expectations for him. On the one hand, it's to collect money, Oreki said. On the one hand, there is also someone who needs this first place spot. As for Ayanokaji-san, you know it, Oreki said. This time he no longer hides and shows his strength. He needs to get the first place in the transfer class. Ayanokaji. The class members said that he suddenly cheated today, and Houtarou was dumbfounded. Houtarou's confidence may have been damaged, as he abstained from 2 consecutive games in the individual event. That's really pitiful. Originally, Houtarou had no ambitions for first or second place, and his goal was to be in the top 3. And now that he has abstained from 2 individual events in a row, the third place probably has no chance. Then Oreki said to Sato-san. You confessed your love to me before because I ran fast. Yes, Sato nodded. I like people who are good at sports and can run fast. I think it was at that time that I fell in love with you because I saw Oreki-san's competition. Benefit. But Kurosawa questions this statement. Because at last year's sports meet, Sato saw the match between Oreki-san and President Horikita, and was attracted to it. But Houtarou and Kojinji's classmates in the class also ran very fast, and they didn't even see her move. So Sato-san probably doesn't like running fast. I like boys who are fast and good looking. This is the essence. And now Ayanokaji-san is running very fast, Oreki said. That's different, but Sato-san said immediately. I already have Oreki-san, and I won't be attracted to other boys. Then he showed an expression that looked like he was about to cry. Or is it that Oreki-san is doubting my feelings? Oreki-san actually had no intention of drawing Sato-san's gaze away. But this is also confirmed. As expected, Sato and Megami didn't want to see his performance and went out of their way to cheer him on or something, but wanted to get him to perform this matter, and then use it as a topic to talk to him again. So, do you want to hold hands? Since Sakayanagi-san is not here, and no one is paying attention to this place right now, it's okay to be a little bold. After all, the 2 of them went out to ambush him, but they missed him. Ken, is it okay? Sato quickly looked around and said. Probably, Oreki said. As long as my girlfriend doesn't see it, that's fine. And he really can't do anything to the girl who wants to cry. And the other side. Speaking of it, Kamuro and Sakayanagi acted together. If Sakayanagi Yuzu left on his own initiative, Kamuro would naturally have to follow. But you were about to say something to Oreki just now, and then you stopped, Kamuro said. In other words, I'm curious about this. As someone close to Sakayanagi, she probably knew that Sakayanagi wanted to do something incredible. If you are going out of school to have a child, you really need money. But Kamuro also knows that Sakayanagi is the daughter of the chairman, so it stands to reason that she is not short of money. Otherwise, he would not have said that he could buy her out with 1 billion in the future. It's something very regrettable, said Mr. Sakayanagi. I want to keep the fruit of my love with him, that is to say, I want to have a child born from their relationship. But I can't tell my father about this. My father pays close attention to me. Once he finds out that I am pregnant, first I would be kicked out of school. There's no problem with that, but Houtarou will probably be forced to marry me directly after graduating from high school. And this kind of thing. President Sakayanagi said. I do not want. I don't want to marry Houtarou. Is it? I don't want to get married. So I have to save money to raise the children alone. So why do not you get married? Haven't you always been very fanatical about Oreki Houtarou? Kamuro-san found it incredible. At first glance, you have no experience in love, and Sakayanagi said, marriage is the tomb of love. A simple marriage can easily wear away love, and at the same time, it will also lose its freshness. For it. This seems like a very mature idea. But it doesn't. Mainly because Sakayanagi discovered that dating Oreki-san was not a good idea. And once you get married, you may not be immediately crowned the Green King. As Oreki-san's girlfriend, she knew very well that Oreki-san couldn't learn how to reject girls, and he was gentle and could be decisive when it came to boys, but he was quite indecisive when it came to girls. So once someone seizes on Oreki-san's weakness and attacks him, even if he is a married man, he probably couldn't turn a blind eye to these girls. In other words, Oreki-san cannot be devoted to his feelings. What's even more outrageous is that he has already contacted Ayanokaji-san. And Ayanokaji-san is the son of that person, plus it is the ceiling of the White Room, so it is possible that he will be in that position, and then there will be a civil law correction. Very convinced. Even if he married her, Oreki-san might still marry someone else. So this man is actually not dedicated to feelings. If the other person's true intentions are like this, how can you change it? So leave? On this point, Sakayanagi didn't want to choose. In other words, there is no such option in the dictionary at all. So, in other words, considering that you cannot be the only one for the other party, is there no other way? No. You can also become the one he cares about most. And this is what she wants to do. Oreki-san said before that he has no confidence in love. Because if you fall in love, you may break up, and if you get married, you may get divorced. But Sakayanagi believes that as long as a bond is formed, it will never be broken, and for a bond that cannot be broken, there may be no other choice except for the child they share. That's why she thought of giving the restless Oreki-san a bond. Speak with facts. And there is no one else who can do this for him. So, Sakayanagi-san is actually a very tolerant and very serious person. And giving birth to Oreki-san's eldest daughter before marriage, wouldn't it be better than marrying him and then finding out that he was cheating on her? There is also a strange sense of immorality. And Sakayanagi said, I don't want to marry Houtarou. Once I use the power of the Sakayanagi family, I'm afraid Houtarou will have to get married to me after graduation. So I have to accumulate money myself and have the capital to live independently. Although he was thinking about something totally immoral, Sakayanagi-san was serious. And Kamuro-san nodded. Although she has always felt that Sakayanaga's thinking mode is different from ordinary people, no matter what, as long as the other party can pay, she has no objection. In this way, the master and servant began to go to the resting place. Next up is Sakayanaga's game. I couldn't participate last year, but this time, Sakayanagi-san is very excited. It's not just that she can finally run around on the sports field like an ordinary student. And last year she could only look at Oreki-san, but this year she can let him look at her. Then kill those little bitches in seconds. Let them understand that she, Sakayanagi, has always been Oreki-san's only real girlfriend. Completely different from them. Some talents and excellence are simply impossible to catch up with. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 669. And the other side. Same here in the cafeteria. The first graders are also eating. Now is a rare rest time. The sports events in the morning are very intense and fast at the same time. There is no time for rest or breathing, and then they are quickly arranged to participate in the next game. As a first-year student, this is the first time I have encountered such a compact project. So I feel a little uncomfortable. However, the 5 individual competition events were finally concluded. Then there were only 3 team battles left in the afternoon. As a good student in Class D, Nanace naturally participated in 10 projects. Then the body that exercises regularly also gets good results. She is now ranked 3rd among the girls. He is only 6 points away from the first place student Tians. It's something you can probably catch up with if you work hard. But she seemed a little unhappy. Because Senior Ryuan arranged them casually, as if he was waiting for instructions. If they needed to abstain, then they would have to be obedient or something. Including her, she was also asked to abstain directly if necessary. Hey. With her ranking, even if she abstains from one game, she will lose a lot, okay. And isn't this kind of behavior similar to a fake match? Completely unfair. It's just that the class used to be dominated by Hosen-san, and it wasn't fair for Hosen-san, but now it's Ryuan-senpai who controls it. The wolf left, and another one came. But Ryuan-senpai is not letting people work for free. As long as he abstains from voting, he will be compensated with 50,000 points. So the students who were named in the class were a little eager to try. This is also regrettable. It's just that she has no way to stop the wishes of her classmates. After all, the class evaluation score is now 0 points. Then I got some points from the uninhabited island exam, which can keep everyone fed, but there may not be any next month. So if you can get points, it is also a good channel. Just doing this is trampling on fairness. As a girl with a strong sense of justice, Nanace's schoolmate has complicated emotions. But she didn't seem to be thinking about it right now. I just saw Oreki-senpai, and I was wondering if I should say hello. The junior student was thinking about this matter. She still has 3 team competition events to participate in the afternoon. Women's volleyball, women's 600-meter relay race, and horseback riding competitions. Among them, women's volleyball requires 6 people to participate and form a team randomly. And now she is having dinner with classmates Amasawa and Tsubaki Sakurako from other classes who randomly come together. Then come and take a seat here after eating. Is it? Then you are very polite. The girl with purple twin-tail hair who had already sat down looked over and thought to herself. But why hesitate? It was already exposed that Ichika Amasawa was a student at Chirobo, and she did not hide it and admitted it honestly in front of Nanace. So the relationship between the two seems to have become closer. But this is also Amasawa Ichika's consideration. She is no longer a student of White House, and she has no place to stay after leaving White House. She knew that she was born as a test tube baby, as a control group among white-fed babies. And the parents have never met. The information was that she was the illegitimate child of an upper-class father and would not be asked to meet her until she reached adulthood. She understands. The place in White House was not only cruel, but the students in White House were more or less like her. Either the children of orphans from other places, or the illegitimate children of various upper-class people whose identities cannot be exposed. Because he had no talent, he was sent to the White Room. If you are lucky, you may be able to put it to use after you get training. And if they are unlucky and fail midway through training, although they will be sent back, they will not be welcome where their parents are. So after losing Baifang and leaving Yuchin High School, it was true that she had no place to stay. But she also said that she wanted to live like an ordinary girl. Experience this freedom. Then eat delicious food, play fun things, have a friend, and then even have a fleeting love. They are all standard for ordinary girls. As for the topic of love, she has already begun to discuss it. But if they are friends, they still need to consider and choose. The person she chose is this Nanace classmate. The other party is honest, has a just character, and is also a bit simple. They are all qualities that can be chosen. So she was deliberately getting closer to the other person and preparing to cultivate a relationship as a friend. Then naturally you need to know the other person's past. So she started, and now she has almost mastered it. This Nane's classmate came here to avenge his childhood sweetheart. The target was Ayanokaji senpai, but later he was enlightened by Oreki senpai and understood the real sinner. But now, she has no offensive power and is just like an ordinary girl studying in Yuchin High School. But this Nane-san seems to have a good relationship with Oreki senpai. Very attentive to each other. But do you need to hesitate about saying hello or not? Because Nane-san said. It seems like I saw the scene of Oreki senpai's cheating. I saw him holding hands with two girls over there. Oh. This. Tian's classmate didn't care at all. Rather say. Oreki senpai's girlfriend Sake Anaga senpai even asked her to be a mistress, something outrageous. And Oreki senpai also gave her a lot of points, making her wonder if he was pursuing her. Of course she knows she's cute. Quite popular among boys. But Oreki senpai's direct way of throwing money at her made her feel a little at a loss. It means that the other party is pursuing her fanatically. Not only cheating on her, but also cheating on other girls. I'm going to buy some water, Tian said. Then he walked out without waiting for Nane-san's reaction. Oreki senpai and Sake Anaga senpai have fixed positions for lunch break and dinner in the evening, and you can often see them there. And now. Drop. After Ichika Amasawa took the drink from the vending machine, he looked in one direction. Over there. It can be seen that Oreki senpai's back is indeed facing this way. But his right hand was held by a hot girl with slightly curly orange hair, and then a girl with a golden single ponytail sat in front. It is indeed a genuine cheating scene. After getting the drink, Amasawa Ichika returned to his seat. Speak of it. But Amasawa Ichika looked at Tsubaki Sakurako, the current first-year classes student who didn't seem to care much about anything else. The students in the class seemed to want to pin their hopes on this sports festival. After all, Tian's and his team's class A have fallen. It became Class B, and the students in the class really wanted to rush forward again. So I hope Amasawa Ichika can work hard. It would be great if I could get first place. Score more points. And if Tsubaki Sakurako's class ranks last and 150 points are deducted, then the goal will be achieved. They returned to Class A. But in the team battle of Amasawa Ichika, he teamed up with Tsubaki Sakurako in both items. In the team battle, as long as you participate, the final ranking and points will be the same. If you participate and win a prize, you will be taken away. So they didn't understand her choice of Tsubaki Sakurako's group. Because how can you fly with your opponent? But this is a kind of confidence that you will definitely win. In fact, Tianzi feels that the classmates in the class are not smart enough. Because they expected her to win first place. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 670. But have you ever considered what if she gets first place, gets a class transfer pass, and then transfers to another class? Although she can get rewards for getting first place, if she changes classes, it will be a loss to the class. And she is indeed somewhat interested in this kind of thing. From the beginning, I was assigned to Class A, which had the highest configuration, and there was no sense of challenge at all. But wouldn't it be interesting if you fell into the garbage class and then launched a counterattack? She thought it was fun. But there is no need to try this kind of thing. After all, apart from class competition, her love, which is an ordinary girl, has not yet been completed. She is a step-by-step person. And deliberately teaming up with Tsubaki Sakurako is not as simple as being confident. But because Speaking of it, Ichika Amasawa looked at Tsubaki Sakurako. This student Tsubaki Sakurako is one of the class representatives of the former Class C and now Class A, and she and Utsunomiya control the class. But Tian's ability to collect intelligence is not low. Your attitude has changed a bit quickly today. What? Chan Yingza looked over. You took pictures in the morning, said Ichika Amasawa. Take a picture of Ayanokaji Senpai from second year Class D. Ayanokaji Senpai. As soon as this name was mentioned, Nanae-san also had a reaction. After all, she came here just to drop out of school in the first place. Then, after getting explanation from Oreki Senpai, she stopped completing the mission. And she also knew that besides her, there were also some first-year students who accepted the task sent by Principal Tsukijo, in which Ayanokaji Senpai could get 20 million points or cash if he dropped out of school. It's just that Principal Yu Cheng has left the school, so the reward is no longer valid. In the end, Tsubaki Sakurako hasn't given up on dropping out of school yet. I think he's a little strange, Tsubaki Sakurako said. Suddenly it was like he was a different person. Does it feel like a different person? Yes. Everyone can see that the other party does not seem to be hiding his strength and directly shows it. After all, it is the crowning masterpiece in the White Room. But does that mean you paid attention to the other person out of curiosity? Amazawa Ichika said. Isn't it because I have other purposes? Moment. Tsubaki Sakurako-san, who was not interested in anything and seemed to have no emotions, immediately looked over. The expressionless eyes seemed to become agitated. Do you want to protect him? Chan Yingzu read word by word. He is my senior and the idol of many people. Tianzi drank the drink calmly. I have no hostility towards him, but I won't stop you from attacking. It's just that I think it would be better for you to give up earlier. Because he is the target of Oreki Senpai's protection, so if you want to target him, then figure out how to defeat Oreki Senpai first, Amasawa-san said. Chan Yingzi. These words made Tsubaki Sakurako silent. Yes. When Principal Tsukijo was still there, Hokwon and the others tried to test and attack Ayanokaji to force each other to drop out of school. But every time they failed. But Baoquin himself was the fastest to be expelled from school. These are fait accompli. And on her side, can the attack be successful? It's hard. And the fact that the current class can be promoted to Class A is largely due to the deal made with Oreki Senpai. Their class still owes each other 20 million. These words made Tsubaki Sakurako silent. And Amasawa Ichika has been paying attention to Tsubaki Sakurako's expression. So it was a matter that was solved without any harm. Then you can proceed with peace of mind to the afternoon team battle project. Ichika Amasawa was full of interest. Because for her, who was born in Baifang, she had never done such a seemingly ordinary act as playing volleyball in the past. So it will be a new experience. So the team battle for the women's volleyball event begins. In the gymnasium, the volleyball program begins. The volleyball event is a game for 12 students, each with 6 players. At the same time, there is a grade scrimmage. Randomly assigned teams. The first graders are lucky. It's Ichika Amasawa, Tsubasa Nanae, and Sakurako Tsubaki, together with the third-year seniors Kaed Kadakiryuan and the second-year seniors Sakayanagi and Maisumi Kamuro. It can be said that this team is quite luxurious. Known as the Red Team. The opponent was a bit pitiful. There are no first graders. But they are all second and third graders. They are 2 passerby senior students in the 3rd grade. Then there are the second-year students Horikita Senpai, Kuruzawa Senpai, Kushida Senpai, Sato Maya Senpai and Ichino Senpai. Known as the White Team. To distinguish themselves, members on both sides wore red and white strings on their foreheads respectively. It's a bit like last year's sports festival. And our little angel Kushida-san said. Yes, is it really okay for me to participate? Archangel Ichinose, a second-year senior from Class B, said. Her physical fitness is not very good. As a result, there were not enough people, so Kushida was asked to participate. But looking at the opponent's camp, Ichinose immediately felt pressure. I guess we all lost, so don't worry too much. Kushida-san was right next to Ichinose and said. For it. That's what I said. But Ichinose couldn't deny it. She also has a tablet that can confirm the results of each grade. Among them, the current Kiryuin senpai is at the top of the list in the 3rd grade. And then President Sakayanagi was at the top of the list again in the 2nd year. Then the first-year student Amasawa Ika is also at the top of the list. So, it's really stressful to face them. Rather, the probability of losing is very high. So she was indeed entrusted to make up the numbers. And Oreki-san will come to watch. Kushida-san then lowered his voice and said. Don't you want to show off in front of him? Only Ichinose-san could hear this sound. But her face suddenly turned red. No, I don't have that intention towards Oreki-san. Ichinose said quickly. Is it? But Kushida didn't think so. Because Oreki said when he was with her, Ichinose was pretty good too. This is good, but it certainly does not mean that Ichinose is a good person. The game is about to start. In front, the players of the red team have already begun to speak. Can we take it more seriously? This is the first game I haven't tried before, said Ichika Amasawa. Sorry, Ichinose apologized quickly. This is her gentle personality. Ordinary students would not be so polite to junior high school girls. Only. Is this your first time trying volleyball? Sato-san on the white team looked at the purple-haired Azawa-senpai on the other side of the net. She also feels a lot of pressure. Because President Sakayanaga's performance today was very energetic, which is exaggerated, isn't it, because President Sakayanagi usually carries a cane around. The results took off immediately. It's like a plug-in is turned on. So is the usual weakness and helplessness shown? And Sato discovered a very bad point. That is, when Sakayanagi Arasu first became the student council president, everyone was saying that even a relationship between President Sakayanagi and Oreki-san would not be able to develop. At most it is platonic spiritual love.